Hi everyone, and welcome back to the virtual classroom where we look, listen and learn together. I found something yesterday on a walk. I found these. They make a bit of a rustling sound. These are sort of quite woody. Yeah, those were those eucalypt gum nuts or gum blossoms that I found that hadn't quite opened yet. You can see that they're still closed. They're tiny, these little ones. And these ones have opened. These ones have gone all woody and they've lost their blossoms and they've lost their petals on there. Their little tiny spiky petals that they have and their pollen, it's all gone. But then I found one on the ground that looked a bit like this. This one is a bit different. It's a bit bigger, isn't it, than this one. You can see it there. It's a reddish purple colour. It's from the same family as this one. It's a bit funny, they're a family together. They look like a family. What do you think? They look pretty similar. These leaves are slightly bigger. And these blossoms look a little bit bigger, don't they? Because you can see on there that they've got a sort of bigger shell on them than these little ones. These are a flowering gum. Have you seen a flowering gum before? They're very beautiful. You can make a flowering gum with your hands. It might start like a little bud, curled up, and then when it's time to open, slowly opens the bud into a flowering blossom. You can see that in the wind. Or maybe a parrot is sitting on this blossom and getting some nectar from it, or a little bee. And these flowers come from a eucalypt tree. And these ones are from a reasonably small eucalypt tree. They're not a very tall one. They're a flowering gum. But they are often found in streets or in gardens because unlike the really tall gum trees, they fit on the street or they fit in a garden a bit better, because sometimes really tall ones, their roots start to get into pipes and different things. So it's better that these ones are planted in the streets. And these ones, they grow to about 5 to 6 meters tall and maybe only about 3 to 4 meters wide. So tall and wide. And they grow in Australia. And they grow in sort of Victoria, or sometimes in Adelaide, and sometimes in the upper New South Wales, this type. There are lots and lots of different types of eucalypts, and we might talk a bit about those later. But these ones are the flowering gum tree. And I thought maybe we could paint this gum tree like we did with that other one that I have in my lap. We painted these tiny little buds here. I made them a bit bigger so you could see them. But maybe we could paint these ones. So I might turn to a new page in my book. You might like to get a pen or your paints, maybe some paper. And we turn the page to a new page. I have my paints here. Here they are. They need a bit of a clean. They've been enjoyed. There's lots of different colours that have seeped into this paint set. As you can see, there's blues and greens and greys and blacks, pinks, reds, oranges and yellows. What colour do you think we would use to paint these beautiful flowering gum blossoms? See how they've opened and they are this beautiful colour. Maybe you can think of what that colour might be. It's sort of like the headband I'm wearing. It's like a pinky red purple colour that you can see there. And these leaves are a glossy, sort of green, oily colour, aren't they? So I might choose some reddish pink, and then you can see that the little shell or the bud that they're in is sort of a yellowy green, so I might use a yellowy green with a bit of orange and some green for the leaves. I'm going to draw my picture before I start. You can use a pencil or a pen. I'm going to hold that beautiful eucalypt gum blossom next to my picture. You can do this lying flat on your table at home, but you need to be able to look closely at this picture here, this object that I've found in nature. And it sort of has this bottom pearl-shaped or diamond-shaped shell to hold that blossom in place. And then out from that shell come all these beautiful sort of needle-like petals. And if you look closely, you might like to look it up on the internet, flowering gum blossom. They have tiny bits of pollen on the end of those petal-like needles, those needle-like petals, like that. And then that's connected to a branch. And remember how I said last time, they're usually in a trio or three, groups of three. And that's the same on this one. They usually come in groups of three. So we can count 1, 2, 3 there. 3 blossoms together. So you might need to draw 3 of those blossoms. Oops, that one didn't quite connect, did it? Make sure they're connected to those branches, because if they're not, they won't be receiving any of that water. So out they come, and then one more beautiful blossom, curled up tightly, ready to bloom. Out comes the blossom. There we go. Don't forget that pollen that you dot, 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 dot all over. Dot, 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 dot. Beautiful. And then that's the branch that it's connected to. You might like to add a leaf to your picture. And remember, they're sort of a curved shape, aren't they? They're not fully round, but they've got a slight curve and a point at the end. So that leaf comes off a little branch there, and then goes like that, and it has that line down there. That's where all the nutrients and water goes to. There we go. That looks pretty good. Shall we paint that picture now? And remember, that picture is going to be a reddish colour for those needle-like petals. Coming off there. My water, some fresh water today. And I will get my paints ready. Hold up my book. And I'm going to dip it in the red colour. Have to remember the colours. So make sure you keep your special flower close to you as you paint, so that you can remember the colours. And carefully paint those lines. They're sort of straight or a little bit curved, those lines. And when you start to run out of that paint, remember to dip your brush in and add some more paint to your brush. There we go. Keep dipping that brush in. Don't forget, because we need all that beautiful colour on our picture there. And I'm sure lots of beautiful birds would love to sit in amongst the leaves on this tree and in amongst the flowers, because some birds often like to collect the pollen from eucalypt flowers. And remember that base there, it's got a little bit of green, but it's got a little bit of a yellow to it too. So you can practice mixing some of your colours together to create maybe a yellowy green colour. And you can dab, dab, dab Make sure you don't add too much at a time. I'm using watercolours and sometimes the water runs, just like in a tap. So we'll dab, 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 dab. Dab, dab, dab. This is starting to look a bit like a eucalypt garden, a flowering eucalypt garden. On an autumn day, maybe. And these tend to flower sort of all year round. Some of the trees are always flowering. Some are winter trees, some even flower in summer. And there are flowering gums all around Australia, and there are lots of different types of flowering gums. So this is just one type of the species. Fill that in. Then we need a darker green for the leaf. And we'll dab, dab, dab the leaf. Dab, dab, dab. And I might mix a few greens together because this leaf here has started to change because it's drying out a bit. Dab, dab, dab. And I think those flowers, those beautiful flowers, are starting to take most of the energy from this tree, because to produce a flower takes a lot of energy. Maybe that yellow for the pollen. Put a little bit of yellow on the top. Make sure those birds and the bees can collect that nectar that they need. There we go. And so there we have it, a beautiful flowering gum. You can mix your colours together at home to create your own flowering gum blossoms. And maybe you could even cut them out. You could stick them on your window. Maybe make a mural of different flowers that you find. Let it dry. Make sure it's dry before you do anything with it. And watercolours won't take too long to dry, which is very handy. There we have it, a beautiful flowering gum. This one was found in Melbourne, in Victoria. It was a street tree. This one was found below a street tree. I hope you have a nice time doing some painting. I'll see you next time. Bye.